My boss, Derek, tried to frame me for stealing $1.2 million. So I exposed his entire criminal empire and sent him to federal prison for 25 years. But destroying him almost destroyed me, too. My name is Jake, and I'm 26 years old. I work at Morrison Financial, doing the math that keeps rich people's retirement funds safe. Been there for 2 years since college. My dad worked construction his whole life and always said, "Get a job where you can't get your hands dirty, son." This job was supposed to be my ticket out. Health insurance, 401k. Maybe even buy a house someday instead of renting this shitty one-bedroom apartment with paper-thin walls. Then Derek became my manager 6 months ago and turned my American dream into a living nightmare. Derek is that guy we all know. Takes credit for your work. Throws you under the bus when anything goes wrong. Somehow keeps getting promoted because he's charming and knows exactly which asses to kiss. The kind of person who makes Sunday night feel like a death sentence because you know you have to see his face Monday morning. Derek started targeting me immediately because I actually do my job correctly. Last month, I caught a $50,000 calculation error that would have cost our biggest client serious money. Derek told our VP he discovered it himself during his rigorous oversight process. I sat in that meeting watching him steal credit for my work while I smiled and nodded like a good little employee. "Jake's still learning the ropes," Derek said. "Lucky I caught this before it became a problem." 2 weeks ago, I noticed Derek moving client money between accounts without proper authorization paperwork. When I asked him about it, he pulled me into his office and closed the door. "You need to stay in your fucking lane," he said, getting right in my face. "I don't pay you to question my decisions. You don't pay me at all. The company pays me. Keep running your mouth and see how long that lasts. There are 100 kids just like you who'd kill for your job." He was right. There were. And with my student loan payments, I couldn't afford to lose this job. I should have known he was planning something bigger. But I was stupid enough to think keeping my head down and doing good work would protect me. Yesterday, Derek called me into his office. Sarah from HR is sitting there, refusing to make eye contact. My stomach immediately drops because HR only shows up when someone's about to get fired. "We have a serious problem," Derek says with this fake, concerned expression. He slides a document across his desk. "This is your report on the Henderson portfolio from 3 weeks ago." I look at the paper. My name is printed at the top. My digital signature is stamped at the bottom. But everything in between makes me feel physically sick. The calculations are completely fucked. Basic addition errors that would get you laughed out of any financial firm. According to this report, my mistakes cost the Henderson family $1.2 million of their retirement savings. "I didn't write this," I say immediately. Derek leans back with that shit-eating grin I've learned to hate. "Your signature says otherwise." "I've never seen this document in my life. These aren't my calculations." Sarah finally speaks up. "The computer logs show you created this file 3 weeks ago and emailed it directly to the client." My hands start shaking. This is career suicide. No other firm would ever hire someone who made mistakes this catastrophic. I'd probably end up back in my hometown working at Walmart like my high school friends, who never escaped. But here's the thing about growing up poor. It makes you paranoid about losing what little you have. So I keep obsessive records of everything I do. Every email, every calculation, every document I create. My dad always said, "Cover your ass, son. Nobody else will do it for you." And I know for absolute certainty I didn't write this piece of shit report. Which means someone else did. Someone with access to my digital signature and the ability to backdate computer files. Someone sitting across the desk from me right now is trying not to smile. "I want to see the original file metadata," I say. Derek's grin falters for just a second. "That's not necessary. We have everything we need to proceed with termination." "Then I want to call my lawyer." "That's your right," Sarah says quickly, but it might be easier for everyone if we handle this internally, avoid any unpleasant publicity. Easier for everyone. Meaning easier for them to cover up whatever they're really doing here. I stand up. I'll be back tomorrow with legal representation. As I walk toward the door, Derek calls after me. Jake? I'd start updating your resume if I were you. Word travels fast in this industry. I drive home to my apartment and immediately pull up every file I have on the Henderson account. I find my original report from 3 weeks ago, the real one I actually wrote and submitted. All calculations are perfect, no errors. The Henderson family's account shows steady growth, not devastating losses. Someone took my legitimate report and created a completely fake version designed to make me look incompetent and criminal. Then they backdated the file creation to make it appear as if I wrote it. I checked the metadata on Derek's fake document using software my computer science roommate taught me about. Hidden in the code is detailed information about who really created the file and when. Derek Wilson. Created yesterday at 11:47 p.m. This motherfucker spent last night manufacturing evidence to destroy my career. This wasn't some misunderstanding or honest mistake. This was a calculated attack designed to ruin my life. But why would Derek go through all this trouble just to fire me? He could have found easier ways to get rid of someone he didn't like. I start digging through his other files using my system access, cross-referencing client account statements with Derek's monthly reports, looking for discrepancies, patterns that don't make sense. What I find makes me physically sick. Derek has been systematically stealing from client accounts for over a year. Small amounts that wouldn't trigger automatic fraud alerts. He moves money around to cover his own trading losses, creates fake documentation to explain missing funds, and forges client authorization forms. The Henderson account is missing $300,000. The Johnson Family Retirement Fund is short $200,000. Mrs. Margaret Williams, the 70-year-old widow who trusts us with her late husband's life insurance money, $500,000 gone. Derek wasn't trying to frame me for incompetence. He was setting me up to take the fall for massive theft. When the annual audit discovers millions in missing client funds, I'll be the obvious suspect. The naive kid with student loans who made all those calculation errors. I sit in my apartment until 3 a.m. going through more files. The scope of Derek's theft is staggering. Dozens of accounts. Over $3 million was stolen from people who trusted us with their life savings. People like my parents who worked their asses off and saved every penny so their son could have a better life than they did. I think about calling the police. But Derek has been planning this for months. He probably has backup stories ready, alternative explanations, ways to make it look like I'm a disgruntled employee making false accusations. If I'm going to take him down, I need to be smarter than just running to the authorities with accusations. I need to make him confess. The next morning, I walk into Derek's office without knocking. He's on the phone with someone, but hangs up when he sees the look on my face. Jake, you look like shit. Maybe you should take a sick day. Clear your head before you make this situation worse. I close his office door and sit down. Pull out my phone and start recording. We need to talk about what you're really doing here. Derek tilts his head like he doesn't understand. I'm trying to help you through a difficult situation. Your performance issues are becoming a serious problem. Cut the bullshit. I know what you're doing to client accounts. I'm not sure what you're implying. I'm saying you've been stealing money, moving funds between accounts to cover your own trading losses. The Henderson report is just your latest attempt to create a fall guy. For the first time since I've known him, Derek looks genuinely surprised. Then his corporate mask slips completely. That's a very serious accusation, Jake. You're already facing termination. I wouldn't recommend making things worse with paranoid conspiracy theories. Mrs. Williams is missing $500,000 from her account. The Johnson family is down 200,000. The Henderson account you're trying to pin on me? 300,000 gone. Should I keep going? Derek stands up and walks to his window, stares out at the city for a long moment. When he turns around, his fake concerned expression is completely gone. You have no idea what kind of pressure I'm under, he says quietly. The targets they give us, the impossible numbers we're supposed to hit every quarter. So you decided to steal from clients? I temporarily redistributed funds from high-performing accounts to cover shortfalls in underperforming ones. It's called portfolio management. It's called theft. Derek walks closer to my chair. His voice drops to almost a whisper. You want to know the truth, Jake? You're absolutely right. I've been moving money around for over a year. But it's not theft if nobody gets permanently hurt. These people have more money than they know what to do with. Mrs. Williams is a 70-year-old widow living on her dead husband's insurance money. Mrs. Williams won't miss money she doesn't even know is gone. Her monthly statements still show the same balance. Because you're falsifying the statements. Because I'm managing risk across multiple portfolios, something someone at your pathetic level wouldn't understand. I can't believe he's actually admitting all this. My phone is capturing every word. How much have you stolen? Derek laughs. Stolen? I've temporarily relocated approximately $3.2 million to accounts where it could do more good. Money that was just sitting there earning modest returns for people who wouldn't notice if it disappeared tomorrow. And when the audit finds out, the audit will find evidence that a careless junior analyst made calculation errors that resulted in client losses. That analyst will be terminated and possibly prosecuted. Problem solved. You're talking about me. I'm talking about whoever gets caught holding the bag when this comes to light. And unfortunately for you, that appears to be you. Derek sits down across from me with a satisfied smile. Here's what's going to happen, Jake. You're going to resign today. Quietly, we'll say you decided to pursue other opportunities. No criminal charges. No ruined reputation, clean slate. And if I don't? Then tomorrow morning, the FBI gets an anonymous tip about a junior analyst who's been embezzling from client accounts, along with all the evidence I've been carefully documenting for months. You're gonna frame me for your crimes. I'm going to let you take responsibility for mistakes that happened on your watch. It's called accountability. I look down at my phone, making sure it's still recording. You really think you can get away with this? I know I can, because I've been planning this for months while you've been stumbling around like a lost puppy. You're not smart enough to outplay me, Jake. You never were. Derek leans forward with that predatory smile. So what's it going to be? Quiet resignation or very public destruction? I stand up and walk toward the door. Derek? Yeah? Colorado is a one-party consent state. I only need my own permission to record conversations. I hold up my phone. Derek's face goes completely white. I just recorded you confessing to stealing $3.2 million and trying to frame me for it. Every single word. Derek lunges for my phone, but I'm already backing out of his office. Delete that recording right fucking now. Sorry, Derek. Game over. You have no idea what you just did. I'll destroy you for this. You already tried. How's that working out for you? Derek follows me out of his office, trying to grab my phone. Half the floor is watching us. Jake, let's be reasonable about this, he says, trying to keep his voice down. We can work something out. Get back in your office, now. You don't understand the position you're putting yourself in. The position I'm putting myself in? I'm not the one who just confessed to felony theft. Derek realizes people are staring and forces a fake smile. Jake's just having a difficult day. Nothing that can't be resolved with a private conversation. I walk back into his office. Derek follows and closes the door. What do you want? He asks. I want you to transfer every stolen dollar back to the correct accounts. With what money? I don't have $3.2 million lying around. Then you'd better figure it out fast. because if those accounts aren't made whole by tomorrow morning, this recording goes to the FBI. That's impossible. Even if I liquidated everything I own, I couldn't come up with that much cash. Sounds like a you problem. Derek sits down hard in his chair. For the first time since I've known him, he looks genuinely scared. Please, Jake. I'm begging you. If this comes out, I lose everything. My house, my kids' college funds. My wife will divorce me. I'll go to prison for 20 years. Maybe you should have thought about your family before you decided to become a criminal. I can pay back some of it. Not all of it, but enough to cover the most vulnerable clients. People like Mrs. Williams who really need the money. I think about this. Getting some of the money back is better than getting none of it back. How much? 800,000, maybe 900. I can mortgage my house, cash out my retirement accounts, sell my car. You have 24 hours. Mrs. Williams gets her full 500,000 back. The other individual retirement accounts get made whole. After that, we'll talk about the rest. And if I do this, you won't go to the FBI? I didn't say that, I said we'll talk. Derek realizes I'm not negotiating, I'm dictating terms. You're really enjoying this, aren't you? Derek, 6 hours ago, you tried to frame me for crimes you committed. You were going to let me go to prison while you got away with stealing millions. So no, I'm not enjoying this. I'm just making sure you face consequences for your choices. My kids are 8 and 10 years old. If I go to prison, their lives are ruined. Your kids' lives are already ruined. You ruined them when you decided to steal money instead of being an honest father. Derek puts his head in his hands. What happens after I pay back the individual accounts? That depends on how cooperative you are with federal investigators. Federal investigators? Did you really think I was going to let you keep $2.3 million in stolen corporate funds? Even if you pay back the individuals, you're still going to prison. Derek looks up at me with pure hatred. You self-righteous piece of shit. You have no idea what you're destroying. I'm destroying a criminal enterprise, and I'm enjoying every second of it. The next morning, Derek transfers $900,000 into client accounts. He mortgaged his house, liquidated his retirement fund, sold both his cars, and borrowed against his life insurance. Mrs. Williams gets her full balance restored. So do 6 other individual retirees whose life savings Derek had stolen. But he still owes $2.3 million to corporate accounts, money he doesn't have and can't get. That's everything I can raise, he tells me when he calls. I'm completely broke now. Good. Maybe you'll understand how your victims felt. Jake, please, I made the individual accounts whole. The people who really needed that money got it back. Isn't that enough? No, it's not enough. You don't get to decide which thefts count and which don't. The corporate accounts have insurance. They'll recover their losses. But if you destroy me completely, my family ends up homeless. Your family is going to end up homeless anyway, because you're going to prison. What if I could give you something bigger? Information about other people in the company who are doing similar things. This gets my attention. What other people? Sarah from HR has been taking bribes to cover up employee complaints for years. 2 other managers have been skimming from petty cash accounts. Even our VP has been inflating expense reports. You're trying to make a deal. I'm trying to give you the whole picture. This company is corrupt from top to bottom. I'm just the guy who got caught. Because you tried to frame an innocent person for your crimes. Because you were smarter than I expected. Look, if you want real justice, take down the whole system. Not just me. I think about this. Derek is obviously trying to save himself by throwing other people under the bus. But if the corruption really goes that deep, maybe other innocent employees are at risk. Give me names, evidence, everything you know about who else is stealing. Derek spends the next hour detailing a network of corruption that goes all the way to senior management. Bribes, kickbacks, expense fraud, embezzlement, Morrison Financial isn't just one rogue manager stealing from clients. It's a criminal organization disguised as an investment firm. When he's finished, I have enough information to bring down half the company. There, Derek says. I gave you everything. Now what? Now I call the FBI and give them all of it, including your confession. But I cooperated. I paid back the individual accounts. You committed federal crimes. Cooperation doesn't erase that. You fucking psychopath. You never intended to cut me a deal, did you? No, I just wanted to get as much stolen money returned as possible before you went to prison. Derek realizes he's been completely played. When I get out, I'm gonna find you. And I'm gonna make you pay for this. You won't be getting out anytime soon. 25 years is a long sentence for someone your age. I hung up and called the FBI. 3 days later, I'm sitting at my desk when the elevators open and 8 federal agents walk onto our floor. Derek is in the main conference room presenting quarterly numbers to our biggest clients. He's wearing his most expensive suit, showing PowerPoint slides about record returns and secure investments. Complete lies. Half their money is gone. Agent Rodriguez, the lead investigator, walks straight to Derek's presentation. Derek Wilson, you're under arrest for wire fraud, money laundering, and conspiracy to commit theft. Derek drops his remote control. The color drains from his face completely. He looks around the room at his clients, his colleagues, and the other executives watching in shock. There's been some kind of mistake, he stammers. No mistake, Agent Rodriguez replies. You have the right to remain silent. Derek's survival instincts kick in. He immediately tries to throw me under the bus one last time. This is about those calculation errors I reported, he shouts. Jake made serious mistakes on the Henderson account. He's trying to frame me. Agent Rodriguez looks confused. She glances through the conference room window at me. Derek follows her gaze and sees me watching. His expression changes from panic to pure rage as he realizes what happened. You, he whispers. Then louder, you fucking did this. I stood up and walked into the conference room, pulled out the folder containing my original Henderson report. This is the report I actually wrote, I announced to everyone present. Derek created a fake version with deliberate errors and tried to frame me for his theft. I hand Agent Rodriguez a USB drive. This contains Derek's recorded confession to stealing $3.2 million from client accounts, along with evidence of additional corruption involving other company executives. Derek's mouth falls open. He finally understands that I wasn't his victim. I was his hunter. You have no idea what you've done, he hisses as they put handcuffs on him. My children will lose everything because of you. Your children lost everything because of you, I reply. I just made sure everyone found out about it. They drag Derek past my desk toward the elevators. He stops and stares at me one last time. I'll destroy you for this. If it takes the rest of my life, I'll fucking destroy you. Looking forward to it. 25 years should give you plenty of time to plan. The arrests make national financial news within hours. Derek's wife files for divorce before he's even processed into jail. Morrison Financial shuts down within 8 weeks. 47 people lost their jobs. Derek gets sentenced to 15 years after taking a plea deal. But he's not done with me. 2 years later, I'm working late when my phone rings. This is Derek Wilson calling from Federal Correctional Institution, Cumberland. Will you accept charges? I almost hung up, but curiosity gets the better of me. What do you want, Derek? His voice sounds different, harder, more dangerous. I've been thinking about you every single day for 2 years, Jake. I'm sure you have. Do you know what federal prison is like for someone who stole from old people? Other inmates don't look kindly on that. Good. I spend 22 hours a day in protective custody because of you. 2 hours in a tiny exercise yard, all because you couldn't mind your own fucking business. All because of your choices. My kids won't talk to me. My ex-wife remarried and moved to Oregon. They're trying to change my children's last names so they won't be associated with me. That's what happens when you become a felon. Derek is quiet for a moment. When he speaks again, his voice is ice cold. I've made some interesting friends in here, Jake. People who used my services on the outside. My blood runs cold. Are you threatening me? I'm sharing information. Some of the people I've met had money invested with firms I recommended. Money that evaporated when my reputation got destroyed. So they lost millions when you decided to play hero, and these people have long memories. I realize where this is going. They also have associates on the outside who handle problems for them. You're talking about putting a hit on me. I'm talking about natural consequences. You destroyed my life. Now other people want to destroy yours. Derek, if you're planning something, I don't have to plan anything. The wheels are already in motion. The automated system announces 30 seconds remaining. Sleep tight, Jake. I'd invest in some good locks if I were you. He hangs up. I call Agent Rodriguez immediately. She takes Derek's threat seriously, but can't do much about it. We'll investigate Derek's prison contacts, but he was careful not to explicitly order violence, she explains. For the next month, I live like a paranoid ghost. Different routes to work. Constantly checking mirrors. Jumping at every sound. But nothing happens. Maybe Derek was just trying to scare me. Then Peterson Financial gets a new client. Meridian Capital is managed by someone named David Wilson. Derek's younger brother. I run a background check and find evidence of David running investment scams for 2 years. This isn't a coincidence. This is Derek's revenge plan in action. 3 weeks later, David requests a meeting to discuss expanding our relationship. David looks like a younger Derek. Same predatory smile, same expensive suit designed to inspire trust. So you're the famous Jake, he says. Derek told me all about you. I'm sure he did. He said you destroyed our family over a simple business disagreement. Simple business disagreement? Your brother stole $3.2 million. My brother made some accounting errors, but did you really need to destroy so many innocent lives in the process? Innocent lives? 47 employees lost their jobs. Derek's children grew up without a father. His ex-wife lost her home. Because Derek chose to become a criminal. Because you chose destruction instead of finding a quieter solution. David slides a folder across the table. I want to offer you a chance to make things right. Investment opportunities that could help the people you hurt. I open the folder. Obvious Ponzi scheme materials. Fake companies with impossible returns. You want me to help you commit fraud. I want you to help fix the problems you created. By breaking more laws? By being practical instead of self-righteous. I close the folder. Thanks, but I'll pass. David's friendly mask disappears. That's disappointing. I was hoping we could handle this amicably. Handle what? The debt you owe my family. Derek sacrificed everything to build something meaningful. You destroyed it for what? Some moral victory? Your brother was stealing from innocent people. My brother was trying to help his family succeed. Now his children will grow up in poverty because of your choices. David leans forward aggressively. My nephew asks why Daddy can't come home. My niece gets bullied at school because her classmates know what her father did. How do you sleep at night? For a moment, guilt hits me hard. Derek's kids really are innocent victims. But then I remember Mrs. Williams and all the other elderly clients Derek robbed. Your brother made those choices, not me. David stands up. You're making a mistake, Jake. My family doesn't forget. And Derek isn't powerless just because he's in prison. Is that a threat? It's a promise. Enjoy your moral victory, because it's going to cost you everything. 6 weeks later, Agent Rodriguez calls with news. We arrested David Wilson at Denver International Airport. He was fleeing to the Cayman Islands with $2.4 million in stolen funds. During interrogation, David reveals that Derek has been running new criminal operations from prison, using smuggled phones and coded letters. But the most shocking discovery comes when they search David's apartment. Detailed plans to murder me, surveillance photos, my daily routines, floor plans of my building, even a timeline for when the hit was supposed to happen. Derek hadn't just threatened me, he'd ordered his brother to have me killed. David breaks down and admits everything. Derek promised him access to hidden offshore accounts if he eliminated the problem that destroyed their family. Federal prosecutors charged Derek with additional crimes that extend his sentence to 25 years. David gets 18 years for attempted murder for hire. The Wilson criminal empire is destroyed. But the victory feels hollow. Derek's ex-wife calls me after David's arrest. "I wanted to thank you," she says, "for stopping them before they hurt more people. I'm sorry about what this put your kids through. My children are better off without Derek. I just wish I'd seen what he was before I married him. Will the kids be okay?" "They're resilient. We moved to Oregon, changed our name, and started fresh. They're young enough to build honest lives." "Good. Can I ask you something? Do you ever regret exposing Derek?" I think for a long moment. I regret it was necessary. I regret that Derek put innocent people in harm's way. But do I regret stopping him? Never. Even knowing his children suffered? Derek's children were going to suffer either way. At least this way, they can build honest lives instead of thinking theft is acceptable. 6 months later, Peterson Financial promoted me to Director of Ethics and Compliance. I make more than Derek ever did, earned honestly. Mrs. Williams calls to thank me again. She's living comfortably on her late husband's insurance money, safe from people who would steal her security. That's what I focus on when guilt creeps in, not Derek's kids or the unemployed workers. Mrs. Williams, and all the future victims I prevented by stopping Derek when I did. Derek tried to frame me for his crimes. Instead, he created someone dedicated to catching people like him. Sometimes justice requires accepting that innocent people get hurt when you stop bad people from hurting more innocent people. Here's my question for you. Was I right to destroy Derek's entire family to stop his crimes? Should I have found a way to protect his children from the consequences? And what would you do if someone tried to frame you for felony theft? Fight back, knowing innocent people might suffer? Or find a compromise that lets criminals escape justice? Drop your thoughts below, because everyone faces this choice eventually. The only question is whether you'll have the courage to do what's necessary when your moment comes.